Okay. Also, Sarvika, yes.
No. The other discussions are Dr. Surjit and Dr. Nripendra, and also Dr. Mishra
Yes.
and Dr. Vaibhav. So all these four are also being sitting as other discussion, co-discussion. So we can.
Okay, but sir's next question will be to Dr. Surjit.
Ah.
Sir, please ask that.
Yeah, what next? So
Yeah.
ultrasound over, tumor marker over.
Yeah,
Now,
there are
tumor
some.
marker, I got one more question.
Yes.
Who is taking up the question? When the tumor marker finding is like this, HCG is normal, AFP is normal, and LDH is purely increased. So, is there any other possibility you have to think of?
Lymphoma we can think of, sir.
Yeah. So, there is one more thing you have to think of when LDH
Yes,
is the
LDH
only
is
marker
specific.
that is increased.
Lymphoma. Yes, okay. What next?
Situations where all the three are normal and you have to go for some other tumor marker.
Other tumor marker. We can have a placental alkaline phosphatase. PLAP is also marker for seminoma.
So,
And recent marker microRNA is there, but
MicroRNA, yes. That is
Micro-
coming up.
PLAP is only actually investigational
yes, sir.
that is
So
used by pathologists to identify seminoma. Otherwise, in the clinical scenario, we are not going to do any other marker than these three.
Yes, sir. Hello.
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 All the others, please unmute their phones. Mute their phones, please.
Hello.
So what next after the tumor
Sir,
markers?
I would like to this tumor marker is elevated, and there is a I would like to do ultrasound abdomen also in this position to look for
Already
any.
done. Normal.
It was normal.
It was
Okay, I
normal.
will do that. So I would like to proceed with the pre-op workup of basic investigation in form of CBC, RFT, LFT, chest X-ray, and ECG. And
Mithilesh,
chest
please
X-ray.
show that research. Is there anything positive in that, Mithilesh? Just quickly show the results. Anything contributory from this?
Nothing, sir. All normal.
Okay.
So after this workup, I would like to take the patient for orchiectomy. But as here scrotum is already involved, I will remove the scrotum also.
Whole scrotum.
Yes, sir.
Whole. On either side. Right and
No, sir. Only left side,
sir.
sir.
Only
Where
the
the
left.
pathology is, sir. Because there is no cross. Lymphatic doesn't cross from median rapid to the other side.
so hemiscrotectomy.
Hemiscrotomy.
Oh.
Orchiectomy plus hemiscrotectomy.
Hemiscrotectomy.
Modify
And
that.
What, sir?
You want to
Hemiorchiectomy.
modify- Eh?
No, what approach? What's the approach of orchidectomy?
Approach will
Yeah.
be through.
You can hear me. You can
Inguinal.
hear me now because I was muted for a long time, quite a long time. Hello,
Yes,
you can
yes,
hear
we are
me?
hearing.
Yes, please.
Because I was
Can
muted
you-
for half an hour. I was muted.
Okay,
That
okay.
was accidental only. I was
I know,
thinking.
I
Yeah,
know.
we had to seek help.
What's the approach?
I will go through inguinal route, sir, so that I could remove the whatever length of the spermatic cord which I can remove, as well as inguinal approach I will approach, sir, so that I will
What is
remove
the
as much as lymph node.
Lymph
What, sir?
node.
What?
No,
No,
the
no, sir.
lymph nodes
Lymph
should
nodes,
be lymph nodes.
spermatic cord up to the deep ring and 1 to 2 up. No, sir, no lymph node, only deep ring. I will up to deep ring or 1 to 2 centimeter proximal to deep ring. I will try to take out the spermatic cord.
What do you call that procedure?
High inguinal orchiectomy.
What is subfacial orchiectomy?
Facial orchiectomy, our incision will be just at the like we give for varicocele subinguinal incision, where will not incise the external spermatic fascia, and from that superficial ring only will take pull this spermatic cord and will first apply the clamp and then will deliver the testis and will take out.
Is there any advantage or disadvantage?
Advantage the actually facial covering we are not removing, so the chances of aberrant lymphatic involvement will be lesser.
While doing this procedure, what is the structure that you should always be careful about?
Ilioinguinal nerve, which is just below the external oblique aponeurosis.
Okay, how do you preserve this nerve?
We'll just give a small nick and we'll separate the ilioinguinal nerve from the external oblique aponeurosis, then we'll incise the rest of the external oblique aponeurosis.
And how do you ligate the cord?
Cord will ligate with non-absorbable suture, silk or no proline we can prefer, and will separately ligate the vest difference so that we can preserve while doing later on RPLND if required. And vessels will ligate separately, rest of the cord will ligate separately.
You leave back a long suture or a short suture?
Long suture around 2 centimeters so that can be identified later on at the time of RPLND.
And you want to do it along with the scrotectomy?
Yes, sir, in this case. Already that is what I'm about.
The scar was you have seen a scar in the testis in the scrotum, and it was extending partly into the right side.
Scar on the other side.
Yes.
It is not extended to the opposite side, sir. It is only
Median
confined to the.
It's not extending.
No, sir, it is not.
Okay, yes. You
Facial
will leave back a drain or you will not drain? In high orchiectomy, you won't leave back
Usually
drain?
we don't put drain, sir.
You don't.
Yes.
And then what do you do now?
After this, I will look for the histopathological. I will just histopathological examination. I will look for that, and then I will repeat the tumor marker also. And tumor marker here LDH is elevated, which has got half-life of 24 hours. So I can repeat the LDH at 4 half-life. That is at 5th day or 7th day also. I can repeat the LDH.
Why 5th day, 7th day? What is the half-life of all these markers?
Half-life of LDH is 24 hour and beta HCG 24 to 36 hour, and AFP half-life is 5 to 7 days. So actually I need to do pre-op also so that I will get the half-life kinetics, so that accordingly I will repeat the marker which is accordingly elevated in the post-op period.
You want a biopsy on the contralateral side?
Biopsy on the contralateral side is indicated in case of patient, if patient is having cryptorchidism or atrophic testis. Atrophic testis means volume is less than 12 ml, which we can measure. Already we have measured ultrasound. Otherwise, we can use the Prader's this orchiometer or Seeger orchiometer, and even our Foley's also we can use Foley's of the bulb, which we can use after filling the saline, so that I will also get the idea of the size of the other testis. If volume of that opposite testis is less than 12 ml, that we consider as a atrophic testis, and there we can take the biopsy from the other testis from the inguinal.
Any other indication for a biopsy other than a small testis?
Other indications are controversial. These tumoral microcalcifications are also other the risk factor for intratumoral germ cell neoplasia, but it is not proven. But if patient is having history, then that is a risk factor. It is microcalcification, but it should be microlithiasis, sir. Actually, it is a tiny microcalcification inside the lumen of the seminal tubule. So it is microlithiasis less than 2 mm. And they are also graded further
No,
if
no,
it is
when
less
did
than
you
5,
say-
up to 5. What's it?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
No. No, when do you say somebody has got a microlithiasis?
Microlithiasis, they are found in the lumen of the seminiferous tubule, sir.
No,
Because
when
it
you
is
say
inside.
somebody has got, no, you find 3 areas of
Sir, there is
calcification. You call
actually
it
there is definition for microlithiasis. There should be less than 2 mm, and there should be in one ultrasound view there should be 5, and there are further grade also. Grade 1 is up to 5, 5 to 10, then 10 to 20, and 10 to 20 to 30, and more than 30. They are graded accordingly. Microlithiasis.
And what's the clinical significance of this finding?
Clinical significance that patient may have infertility also along with microlithiasis, and in the case of grade 4, that we can do biopsy also of the other testes. If more than diffuse microlithiasis is there, that is more than 30.
What
Any
are
other
the
indication for a biopsy?
biopsy? Any other indication?
Infertility is also
Any
one
other
of
indication?
the infertility, sir. In infertility also
No,
we can
no.
do by crypt orchidin. I have already told, sir. Crypt
No.
orchidin. If history of crypt orchidin is there,
Cryptorchidis.
yes, sir. Crypt orchidin
The
of the
patient
other
had a
testes.
history of if the patient used
Orchidopexy.
to have a history of orchidopexy in childhood, that is also that is the indication.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How-
That's the indication, sir. If orchopexy is
how-
that pre-pubertal, that risk is decreased, but risk is still there 2 to 3 times.
How do you do this
It is
biopsies contralateral?
From the inguinal approach only, sir.
How many biopsies you take? From where will you take?
2 biopsies
From
will take.
where?
Usually testicular biopsies are usually taken from the upper pole, anterior and posterior region.
Medial and lateral, not anterior.
Sorry, sir.
posterior.
Medial and lateral. Anterior,
Ah,
posterior.
yes.
Medial and lateral.
Okay. Yes.
Because the reason is you have to safeguard the blood vessels.
Yes, sir. Blood vessel we have to safeguard, and then after taking biopsy, we have to fix that rest other testicular tumor testis also. So orchiopexy also means we have to fix with the gubernaculum region and the septum also. The other testis after taking biopsy.
Now, before you plan for an orchidectomy,
Yes, sir.
you would like to go into his fertility status and whether he wants to have more offsprings and all those things. Is it going to make any
Yes, sir.
change in your?
Yes, sir. We can explain the patient already that although the patient has completed his family, but we can explain him that during this treatment of this pathology, patient may become infertile later on. That may
So
be
then what
consequence of the pathology itself, or it can be because of surgeries or radiotherapy or chemotherapy. So we can tell him
So
to
what
preserve
are
the
the-
semen.
So what if the patient is keen to have another child?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll explain him. If you want, then we can do sperm preservation also, and that will do before orchiectomy. 2 sample of 48 hours apart, and 2 seminal sample will preserve.
So few points about biopsy. Microlithiasis is not considered to be a indication for
Yes, it is
biopsy
not.
unless it is associated
Yes, sir. Yes,
with
sir.
severe oligospermia or cryptorchidism.
Yes, sir. Yes. Infertility.
After taking biopsy also, there is a difference of opinion whether it will improve or whether we should have a close watch. So these 2 things, but at present, biopsy indications are a severe oligospermia with history of with or without history of cryptorchidism, a cryptorchidism with or without a microlithiasis or atrophic or size variation. All these 2 conditions. So size variation, oligospermia, and cryptorchidism. These are the more important 3 factors. Microlithiasis is not considered. Second thing is whether we should do a CT. Somebody was asking the question. So whether do a CT before procedure or not. Earlier we used to say that first of all we go for orchectomy and then proceed with the CT. But current this thing is we can go for a CT if it is not going to delay your management of the testicular mass like orchectomy, because you will get more idea. And second factor is sometimes when we are ligating the cord and it is retracting into the inside, sometimes it can produce a small lump. So that is one discussion. But if it is not going to delay your management, CT is preferable to do before, because we get a better idea about the tumor. So, and third factor is about storing of sperms. That has to be done prior to managing the start the management, if at all possible. Or if it is not done earlier, you have to do it before a chemotherapy, after orchectomy, but preferably before orchectomy. And this is patient's choice rather than our choice, whether he has to store it or not. And all sperm banking, before that you have to confirm sperms in the sample, because tumor itself can cause severe oligospermia.
Okay, okay, Surjit.
Yes, sir. I will
Now
look for
you
the.
have,
Yes,
you have done the orchiectomy now.
yes, sir.
You're happy.
I will not, sir. I will just look for the tumor marker. What is their trend, and then second thing, I will look for the histopathological examination of the tumor.
Okay.
And in that, I will look for the
Or-
lymphovascular invasion. What are the type and carcinoma? If it is non-seminoma germinal cell tumor, what involvement I will look for. I will stage the disease according to that histopathological report.
This was actually this is tumor size actually part of the skin, and it was not a radical hemispherectomy, only part of the skin exercise, and the code was sufficient. It was longer than what we see in this. Anyway, from this tumor, can you make any guesswork?
There are more of the cystic areas, so there may be more chances of teratoma component in this. First thing I can make out, and it's a variable means consistency. So it's a first of all, it's a non-seminal germinoma, and then it is more component having teratoma.
Why did you say that it is an NSGT?
Teratoma can be
Why?
because it is not a homogeneous, means what is in seminoma it is homogeneous 10 colored tumor, but in non-seminoma it is not homogeneous tumor, heterogeneous tumor, and cystic areas are more in favor of teratoma component.
Dr. Nrupendra, you are on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your comment about this?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Seeing the specimen, what is your comment?
Sir, same thing, sir. Actually, seminoma will present as a homogeneous 10 color mass, sir. And cystic lesions are rare to find. So, along with the cystic areas and the heterogeneous texture of the tissue specimen. So, we will keep NSGCT as a preferable diagnosis first.
No, he has, Surjit has committed that it is a teratoma. What is your comment on that?
Sir, cystic areas are more in favor of teratoma. I will wait for the histopathological examination report. I will not conclude it.
Suppose you see some
Vaibhav?
particular finding in
Yes, sir.
Dr. Vaibhav, your comment
Yes, sir.
on your comment on
Sir, I will not comment on teratoma because it's an adult patient. In adult patient, mostly the teratoma are mature teratomas. So more mature components like hairs or bony structures can be seen. It is cystic with a lot of necrotic area. It's a rapidly growing tumor and definitely heterogeneous in structure. So most going into favor of a non-seminomatous germ cell tumor.
Dr. Mishra, your comment?
Sir, I would also not like to say teratoma. I can say for sure that it is a non-seminomatous because in teratoma there can be mature elements like skin or hair or nails, or sir there can be mesenchymal components also. So here we cannot see such components, so we cannot say that it is a mature teratoma. It can be a possibility of an immature teratoma, yes, but we cannot be sure about a teratoma.
Okay, then we will ask the histologist.
Yes, sir.
Yes, is it available?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So it's a mixed germ cell tumor and infiltrated with spermatic cord also. And ISE is CD30 more in the favor of embryonal carcinoma. PLEP is there and FP4. I would like to know the lymphovascular invasion also in this.
Mithilesh, is it available? No.
Actually, they have not mentioned anything about lymphovascular invasions in this.
Why are you very much interested in knowing lymphovascular invasion?
Lymphovascular invasion will decide me further. That is actually one risk factor for non-seminoma germinal cell tumor, along with the involvement of the spermatic cord and scrotal involvement. These are the three component risk factor for non-seminoma germinal cell tumor. That will decide my how much cycles of chemotherapy I will give later on.
And this has already infiltrated the skin.
Yes, the scrotal involvement is also one risk factor. It is.
Then what is the this lymphovascular invasion? It's already infiltrated.
Yes. Any of this factor I can consider for high risk factor.
So in this case, lymphovascular invasion is not important because scrotal skin is already infiltrated. Lymphovascular invasion can be seen in stage 1 diseases when we want to classify is at low risk or high risk. Here it is already a T4 disease, so lymph node vascular invasion is not important.
Yeah, alternate lymphatic pathways have already been opened. So is there a point actually?
You told just now that will decide the number of chemotherapy in this patient. How is going to decide the number of chemotherapies, number of cycles?
That depends on the after staging. I will decide, sir, what stage it falls in.
Purely this aspect, like local infiltration or local stage or prognostic factor, will it guide you regarding the number of cycles? So it is going. If it is going to be stage 1, will it change the management? If it is going to be stage 2 or 3, will it change the management?
Yes, sir.
In stage 1, it will going to change the management.
How is it going to change the management?
If high risk factors are there in stage 1 non-seminoma, we can go with the 2 cycle of BEP.
So what that is what I want to just highlight. What is the difference between 1 cycle and 2 cycle? What are the factors based on which you may think of? What is the evidence for that?
Evidence, I don't know, sir.
There is evidence actually the difference in the outcome is around 4 to 5% only between 1 cycle and 2 cycles. So routinely going for a 2 cycle is not advisable. So routine thing is 1 cycle if it is a non-seminomatous, that is BEP. But thing is if it is actually very high risk factors there are some evidence to say that 2 cycles may be beneficial. There are some 5% difference. So as you rightly told, it can guide you in the management, but so there are different managements. One is active surveillance, second is a chemotherapy. In the chemotherapy also in non-seminomatous, there are some factors which will favor 2 cycles. That is actually a worse prognostic thing. So just putting it, the yolk sac tumor, is it a good factor or a bad factor?
Yolk sac tumor is a good factor, sir.
So embryonal cell carcinoma 15% is a good or bad?
Is bad.
Embryonal carcinoma less than 40% is a good factor. More than 40 is bad factor.
So these
40
two
to
are
50%.
actually good factor, but a worse factor is the local stage.
Yes.
Okay. Along with that, if lymphovascular invasion, you can just have, but it may not change the management. Already we know that it is a bad prognosis.
Bad prognosis.
What next?
Tumor markers I will check, sir.
What about CT?
Yeah.
And what is the
Tumor-
state of the disease? I will
Staging is based on TNMS. So I will, this is a T4 and I will make after CT scan and M also after CT scan. It's a T4 definitely.
Oh, now you want a CT scan.
I will first get the tumor markers, then I will decide the CT abdomen anyway I will go, but CT chest will be decided by basis of the tumor markers also.
You already know that the tumor marker is elevated and the histopathology shows that there is this mixed germ cell tumor.
Yes, sir.
Still you don't want to decide only after the tumor marker.
CCT abdomen and pelvis anyway I am going to do, sir. That will stage the
Yes.
abdominal disease. But for CT chest, but here already beta SCG is normal, so CT chest will not decide on that.
Okay. What do you want now?
Tumor marker, sir.
Okay. Mithilesh, is it available? Yes.
And I will know the what time they have been repeated.
When was it?
So that will give half-life kinetics of the.
It was repeated 3-week post-orchidectomy.
So 3-week post-orchiectomy, if it is, they should have been come down to be normal, but serum LDH is still elevated. And it is elevated more than 5 times, roughly 5 times.
Yes, Perik sir.
Yes.
Can't hear. Hello. That is there is only phone call. Yes.
Yeah, what is the ideal time when you would have repeated the tumor marker? Is 3 weeks ideal, or is there some other? What did you have in your mind?
Usually it should be after 4 cycle of the tumor marker, and that 4 half cycle depends on the half life of that particular tumor marker.
So how to know?
So for LDH, it can be means we can repeat on 7th post-op day also, 1 week later.
Okay, but sir, any suggestion for that?
Which one?
This was done on 3rd week actually.
LDH is 1000.
Yeah, the timing for repeating the tumor marker estimation.
Timing, as said, that depends on that again depends on the level of the tumor markers. Suppose it is in lakhs, then 4 does nothing. You will have to serially monitor it and to see how it is coming down. How much it is, how rapidly it is coming down. Sir. In this 3 weeks, it's okay. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. By the time 1 month, it's okay. 3 weeks.
So we will depend more on multiple estimations rather than a single estimation.
How much it is elevated depends on that. Very markedly elevated, moderately elevated. Depends on that only.
Okay. So, Surjit was
Yes,
asking.
That question, can I also add to a few points?
Yes.
So, one is the practical aspect. Second is the regarding the theoretical aspect. So, as Suresh sir has rightly told, we usually go for around 1 month, because unless we are going to change the manner, because if there is an indication for emergency chemotherapy, then you have to go for the half-life and have an early chemotherapy for these patients. So then we have to go for early tumor markers and just see what is the reduction. Okay. Otherwise, routinely, there is no emergency for a chemotherapy to be within 1 or 2 weeks. So there is no urgent indication for it. But for that, we can wait for half-lives and go in the routine way. Second, CT should be wait for the tumor marker result to come. So CT should be initial go itself. You have to because added information about the management in the day to come. So doing a CT early will be a better idea than delaying it till the tumor marker result comes.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you want to do next?
CCT abdomen and pelvis.
Shall we see the CCT?
Dinesh, is it available? CT. Little bar so. What is this? Can you read?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes, sir.
we call the other discussion?
Yeah, Dr. Waifo, please comment on this.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's a non-contrast CT film which is shown. You can see the left kidney is seen, and there is a mass which is seen in the area of great vessels, but I would like to see the contrast images also, so be able to comment on it. The contrast phase of the CT. Any more coronal sections?
Mithilesh, is it available?
This much only 2 slides are there.
Oh,
So
okay,
now
okay.
it's a contrast phase. I can see that there is a mass just adjacent to the aorta and IVC. Most probably it's a lymph node, and since it's a left side tumor, it is in the primary landing site. The rest of the liver parenchyma looks normal. There is no other lymph nodes in the other non-primary landing site.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. According to this CT, there's a lymph node which is present in between the IVC and the aorta.
Okay, okay. That yeah, obviously
Dr.
the fillets
Nrupendra,
are not
anything to
sufficient.
add? Dr. Nrupendra, anything to add?
Nothing, sir. Only this lymph nodal mass that is seen adjacent to the aorta, and we can say in the parahilar region. That is the primary landing site for the left side tumor. So parahilar and the interaortocaval region.
Dr.
Are you
Mishra,
happy?
Dr. Mishra, anything to add?
So this is a retroperitoneal mass that we can see in the para-aortic region, and it is seen abutting the renal artery. And there is no invasion of the surrounding structures, but it is seen abutting the renal artery. Yeah.
Do the CT contain the inguinal areas also, the axial? Is it important?
No, sir.
In this patient, it is important because there is a skin involvement.
Yes, sir.
So in this skin involvement, there is an altered route of lymphatic. So in this patient, you have to have a look of inguinal region also, because usually it doesn't go retro unless it is a very bulky mass. We can actually grow retrogradely. But when there is a T4 tumor, when there is skin involvement, actually you have to go for lower lymph nodes also, because the landing site may not be the only site of lymphatic involvement.
I would also like to know the size of the mass, because the end staging will be dependent on the size. So, according to the report, the size will decide whether it is N1, N2, or N3.
Any other visceral involvement?
No, sir. No, sir.
How will you decide about chest CT or chest X-ray in a testicular tumor patient?
Sir, patients who are poor risk factors on IC-CCG criteria, patients who are having high level of beta HCGs or multiple retroperitoneal lymph nodes, in those cases, chances of pulmonary metastasis are more. So, would like to go for a suspicious nodule which is seen on the X-ray. Then the chances of pulmonary metastasis are more, and would like to go for a chest CT.
Is there a difference between the different guidelines about chest CT or X-ray?
Sir, NCCN and EOA guidelines, some are different, have difference. They are predicting that CT chest should be routinely done for every case, but NCCN guidelines are CT only done if it is high chances of any pulmonary metastasis are present.
So basically, how we do is actually when there is a chest abdominal lymph node is positive, routinely go for a chest CT. If it is NGCT, we routinely go for a chest CT. If the tumor markers are elevated, even if the retropetronin is normal, go for a chest CT. Or any suspicious elements in the chest X-ray, go for a chest CT. These are the way in which we go for a chest CT in our practice.
Ganil sir, one question, sir. Hello. Hello, Ganil sir, one question, sir. Sir, what is the staging of inguinal node if scrotal violation was done or hair skin was involved? So that nodes will be coming in the inguinal lesion will be considered as N1, N2, or it will be metastatic as per the TNMS?
Actually, any local, if not, there is.
You are muted, sir. We can't hear you, sir. So
Hello?
we can't hear you, sir. You are muted.
Yeah.
So local lymph node involvement, local lymph node drain.
Unmute, Ginil, unmute.
Positive. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Routine practice, actually, the local lymphatic drainage site is para-aortic or the landing zone. But when there is a T4, actually, whether we should consider actually inguinal also become a local drainage, but in the guideline it is not mentioned. So there is no definite answer from the guideline, but we have to assume that is the local lymph node. But it is not going to change the management in any way, because if it is current day practice, it is the chemotherapy and it is based on other factors. So it is not going to change the management. For discussion aspect, I think we can say that it is a local lymphatic drainage because skin is involved.
Yes, thanks.
One thing I must add, because there is a lot of confusion regarding what are the indications for subjecting these patients to chest CT. The rule of thumb is any patient who has abnormal findings on chest X-ray or there are symptoms. In these patients, as it was discussed previously, if there would have been lymphovascular invasion or histopathological examination, that is another indication. And more importantly in these patients, because post-op tumor markers, they are raised, still that goes for an indication for chest X-ray. And CT abdomen, we have subjected these patients. If there we have found any metastatic lesions, that again amounts to subjecting the patient to this chest CT. I think these things must be kept in mind.
Yes. Vaibhav?
Yes, sir. I'll like to go for a chest CT also.
So you would like to have a chest CT, or you have something before? Prior to that, much easier things are available.
Sir, chest X-ray.
Yes.
Not just because I asked, you need not go. Obviously.
Sir, I would like to have a chest X-ray and
Chest X-ray. Okay. Midilesh, is it available?
So on chest X-ray, there are multiple suspicious lesions seen, which might be due to the metastasis from the primary CA testes. So for further confirmation, I would like to go for a chest CT.
See, Vaibhav, what you see in the X-ray, what should come in your mind immediately after seeing, even as a house surgeon? What is this?
So cannonball appearance.
Yeah, multiple that coin-shaped shadows. This is very typical, isn't it?
The shape is very typical.
Yes, sir.
So when there is an indication for chest CT, actually it is better to do along with the abdomen CT itself, because we can reduce the contrast and radiation exposure.
Again muted. Ginil again is muted. Please unmute him.
I muted after I just discussed.
Okay.
Could you hear?
Yeah. Now we are hearing.
Yes, we heard you finish the comment and then.
That is a good suggestion. It's practically that is good,
Yes.
but we could also have taken that a few chest cuts along with
Yes.
this,
Yes.
but it's not always possible.
Does the presence of necrosis in the lymph node signify anything?
Suggestive was, sir, a more aggressive variant of the tumor. Non-seminomatous tumor, aggressive, fast-growing tumor can have necrosis in the lymph node, sir.
Now, Sasha, what is the staging, clinical staging now? Or even
Sir, it is, we can see in the X-ray, chest CT is not there, but on the basis of X-ray, sir, it is M1A. So,
so you want a chest CT?
Yes, sir.
It is very obvious that cannonball shadows are there, and you're sure. Still, you want to confirm it?
Yes, sir. Chest CT, sir, still, sir, we like to have, because that, although on the X-ray we can clearly say sometimes pleural involvement may be there. Patient might be having, although in this the angles appear clear, but CT can have a better idea about the size of the mets, how many mets, and allow condition or any pleural effusion is there. So I think we should have a chest CT, sir.
Okay, then we'll ask Mithilesh. Is it available? Okay.
Sir, in this axial cut of the CECT thorax in the arterial phase, sir, we can see, sir, multiple enhancing lesion on the right lung field and the left also, sir. And in the left lowermost corner, we can see one of the lesion appears to be, sir, involving the pleura also. That can, it is sir, suggestive of CA testis with extensive lung metastasis, sir. So now, based on CECT, we can say it is M1A, sir. On CT abdomen, there was no abdominal, no visceral mets. In history, also, patient didn't give any symptoms suggestive of any CNS symptom. Beta CG was normal. So, considering this is the only metastatic site, there is no non-pulmonary mets. We can say it is at stage M1A, sir, which according to tumor mark can be either stage 3A or 3B.
You want any other imaging now?
No, sir.
No, sir, I don't think, sir. Sir, in this patient, no more imaging, sir. I think I don't know.
Is there any indication? What's the indication for a CT brain for a patient with a?
Sir, brain involvement, sir, some of the indication are when we are thinking in line of choriocarcinoma, if patient has beta SCG, if it is more than 5,000, or a patient on presentation only has some CNS symptoms, some headache, or symptoms like that, which give us a clue the CNS involvement will be there, or some NCCN says, sir, AFP also more than 10,000. If it is, then, sir, we can ask for a brain MRI. So in all cases, sir, it is not indicated, sir.
Convulsion.
Like
convulsion.
Convulsion, yes.
So clear-cut indication for brain CT in a testicular tumor, or if there is any symptom suggestive of a brain met, or if you are suspecting a choriocarcinoma. These two things you can go for brain CT. Otherwise, if in a symptomatic patient, routine brain CT is not indicated. So how will you proceed further? What are the important factors you will consider in this patient? So, so where does this patient come? You say metastatic?
Sir, metastatic, it will come in, sir, stage 3A, sir.
3.
So another thing, how you prognosticate this patient? That is the next question.
Sir, it is a non-seminomatous, sir, intermediate risk type tumor. So we have clear-cut like data. What is on the IGCCG? What is the 5-year survival? So if like we proceed with, like in this case, we will go for chemotherapy. Then we can prognosticate about the survival to the patient. Like the survival 5-year overall survivor is around sir 75 to 80%, and progression-free survival is 75%, sir.
So International Germ Cell Cancer Collaborative where does this patient fit into? What risk category?
Sir, he'll fit into, sir, intermediate, sir.
Why? Why is fitting in intermediate?
Sir, non-germ cell tumor in IGCSE are classified on 3 factors, sir. Tumor markers.
Non-germ cell NSGCT can come into all the 3 groups.
3 groups, sir.
But
Yes.
Melanoma can come in only in the first 2 groups.
First 2 groups, sir.
Where does this patient come and why?
Sir, he is coming in intermediate because he is having, sir, pulmonary mets. If had it been he was having
pulmonary met can be in
intermediate groups.
Intermediate or good.
Okay. He's S1, sir. He will.
2 it can be.
Yeah, because he is having
S1.
S1.
S1, sir. S1.
S1.
S2. It is S2. S2.
S2 it is
This is
intermediate.
S2, actually, it is less than 10
It is
times.
S2.
It is actually less than 10, sir. It will yield good risk.
No, it's not good risk. It is
Good risk.
intermediate risk only.
Intermediate.
Intermediate
It
risk
is
only, sir.
S2. It is intermediate risk.
LDH is
LDH is less than 10 times.
LDH is less than 10 times.
So that is, sir. Okay.
S2.
That is S2.
S2. Sir, voice is not coming, sir.
Voice.
So if it is S2, what is the implication of it in the outcome? So what are the different things you can discuss with the patient with this finding? One,
sir,
what will be the prognosis? Second, how many cycles of chemotherapy he will require? Okay. And third, what is the chance of other mode of treatment in the coming days? These are the 3 things about which you can get a clue with this risk stratification.
Sir, prognosis already, sir, as I told, sir, it is like overall survival, we can tell that it is good, sir. It is around 80% in intermediate with the 5-year progression fee around 75%. Regarding, sir, other form of therapy, we should tell the patient that upfront he will need, because he is from 3A, he will be needing upfront chemotherapy, sir. And after chemotherapy, if there is a residual mass, which is more than 1 centimeter, there are high chances that the patient will need to undergo RP-LND. So that has to be told to the patient, sir. And because it is not a poor risk patient, sir, we can tell him that he will be needing 3 cycles of BEP, sir.
So will you prefer to have 4 EP or 4 BEP?
Yes, 4 EP.
So can you avoid bleomycin?
Bleomycin, yes, sir. We can avoid bleomycin.
Sir, in this case, we can, sir, because extensive lung mets are there, we can consider EP4, sir.
Actually, in this patient, we will not consider EP4 because it's a non-seminomatous germ cell tumor. In non-seminomatous, actually, and non-seminomatous, we would like to have an aggressive approach. Actually, EP has got less long-term outcome is less compared to BEP. BEP is a better regime. So in EP4 comes mainly in seminoma and also in good prognostic.
Good prognostic.
Okay, so if it is intermediate or high risk, go for BEP pattern for 4 cycles.
4 cycles.
What is the role of a surgical intervention in this patient?
If we are giving chemotherapy for this patient and we encounter a residual or a recurrent mass, then there is a role for RP-LND for this patient.
So before that, there is you have given chemotherapy. How are you going to assess the response?
Voice is gone. Hello.
Hello.
repeat the CT and tumor markers to assess the response to the chemotherapy. Depending on whether the tumor markers are decreasing and what is the residual size of the mass which is left. Depending on that, the further treatment will be decided. If the tumor markers are still raised, then he might require repeat chemotherapy. If tumor markers are normal but the mass is more than 1 centimeter, then he might require RPLND surgery.
When are you going to time these investigations?
Sir, repeats will be done 4 to 6 weeks after the completion of the last cycle. 3 cycles of BP will be given, and after completion of the last cycle, after 4 to 6 weeks, a repeat CT will be and tumor markers will be done.
So one more point that has come in this thing, whether we can avoid a bleomycin in the last cycle. So majority of the chemo medical oncologists prefer to skip bleomycin in the last cycle, like BEP plus 1 EP. That is the usual protocol followed by. Why bleomycin is skipped in the last cycle?
So bleomycin has a complication of pulmonary fibrosis.
So if this patient is going for a surgery later, that can affect the that can increase the risk because of bleomycin effect on the lungs. So BEP plus 1 EP or BEP4 or other alternate regimes are using vinblastine is another option. So these are the options we will consider in this patient.
Sir, Janil sir, one question, sir. Sir, regarding the after this completion, hello, sir, can you hear me?
I can. I'll repeat after your answer.
Sir, after the completion of this 4 cycle, ideal time for repeat CT is 2 weeks or sir 4 weeks? What should be the ideal time, sir?
Usually, any evaluation within 1 month will give for a lot of fallacies. So whether in seminoma we evaluate the post-op or post-chemotherapy scenario with 2 investigation. In seminoma, it is the PET scan, and in non-seminomatous tumor, it is the CT scan. Okay, so in this scenario, we should give adequate time for the response to settle. Like in PET scan, it is well defined. It is 6 weeks at least to wait. Okay, so that the inflammatory component will subside and false positivity will be less. But CT, we usually go for at least 1 month, that is 4 weeks, and proceed. PET scan, it is well defined. It is around 6 weeks. CT scan, at least 4 weeks. That is the usual thing we do.
So should we wait for tumor markers to be repeated after 1 month, or can we repeat the tumor markers after chemotherapy earlier? So voice is not there.
Sir, you are muted, sir.
Dr. Ginil.
If the tumor marker is reducing at the same rate of half-life, because in the post-chemo scenario, tumor marker sometimes will be very high. So you cannot say that it will completely settle within 3-4 weeks. But if the logistics say that it is reducing at the same rate as half-life, then you can just serially monitor the tumor markers and delay the second line of treatment. But if it is static even after the initial investigation, then you have to assume that it is actually a persistent elevation of tumor markers, and you have to plan the treatment accordingly.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
What would be the follow-up protocol?
So because this is an intermediate risk patient, and because this patient is falling in high risk of NSGCT and NS and ITGCC classification intermediate risk, so we will repeat tumor markers more frequently. So we would like to do a CT scan in the first year 3 to 4 times, followed by every 6 to 12 months for the next 2 years, and then annually. So
in follow-up, I would also like to advise this patient if in family history, if this patient has any brother, for self-examination of testes, because the chances of are more in family members and brothers, it is more than 10 times. So if this family history patient has a brother or a son who is, since he's 40 years, if his son is 20 years or above, self-examination of testes for brother and son also in the follow-up.
Yeah, some points regarding surgery, whether a
Sir, post chemotherapy, when we will go for CT scan, as Zilan sir told, after 4 weeks of the completion of 4 cycles of BEP, then we will assess the response. So it has been categorized into 4. But like patient can be a complete responder. So in that serum tumor markers and size of the mass we will look. So if serum tumor markers are normal and mass size is less than 1 centimeter. So 2 schools of thoughts are there, whether we can go for wait and watch, that is on over surveillance, and we can also go for post chemotherapy surgery if pre-CT size of the mass is more than 3 centimeter. Next is sir, partial remission tumor marker negative category. So in that serum tumor marker is normal, but mass is more than 1 centimeter. Then we will consider it as having teratoma component. So we will go for post chemotherapy surgery. And then next 2 categories are partial remission serum tumor marker positive, in which serum tumor marker is positive. That is suggestive of viable malignancy. And last category is progressive disease, that disease progressing despite the therapy. So both these 2 last categories, they will be given salvage chemotherapy in the form of 2 cycles of BEP. It is like this. So we can say that 38 to 68% of partial of the group of partial responder, in which serum tumor markers are normal, but size of the tumor is more than 1 centimeter. So we can plan surgery in that case. Hello.
voice is not there.
Sir, your voice is not there, sir.
Voice.
All the tumor markers normalization doesn't mean that it's a growing teratoma or residual teratoma, because in some of the patients, tumor markers can be normal and the lymph node can be more than 1 centimeter. That can be viable tumor. So growing teratoma is a histopathological finding when in some of the condition when there is a large mass is persisting, and histopathologically they are saying that it is a teratoma. But if there is a malignant component, then this doesn't apply there. So all normalization of testicular tumor marker doesn't mean that it is a growing teratoma syndrome. One, the cutoff currently is 1 centimeter. At least 0.8 is in some center, but 1 centimeter is the usual cutoff we put. Any tumor more than 1 centimeter in if testicular tumor marker is normal, go for RPLND. But if it is, even if the chest is not completely resolved, if the tumor marker is resolved, more than 1 centimeter persisting, go for RPLND, because sometimes chest may be only a scar and viable tissue or maybe there only in the abdomen. Okay, but if viable tissue is there in the abdomen histopathology, there is a high possibility that chest lesion may have viable tumor. So the tumor, the chest also has to be treated accordingly, either by a resection or by a second line chemo. So these are the different scenario comes. If tumor markers come down to normal, the chest partially or completely resolved, and abdomen completely or partially resolved. If there is more than 1 centimeter, we have to go for RPLND. If there is any viable tumor, we have to go for the, we have to target the chest either with resection or a second line. If there is no viable tumor, some of the papers say that the chance of having a lesion in the chest residual mass is very less. So probably we can go, we can observe those lesions. Okay. So if there is persistence of tumor markers, is not a candidate for a RPLND, first chemo RPLND, is a candidate for a second line chemo. And second line chemo is usually VIP or other protocols, but the problem is sometimes you may have to be planning for a bone marrow transplantation because it can have a severe hit.
Sir, what is the indication of desperation RPLND?
So desperation RPLND, if your PS, this thing is persistently elevated and you have exhausted all other mode of chemotherapy, then you are actually going for a desperation RPLND.
So should we wait for a desperation surgery after second line chemo, or we can plan a desperation surgery even after first line chemo?
That is depending on the tumor marker level. If there is tumor markers elevated, nobody is going for a RPLND in the first scenario. They are going for a second line.
Right.
So even after second line, the tumor marker is persisting. What we have to do, then only this comes.
Okay.
We will assume that what is the assumption? We assume that the residual tumor in the abdomen is the probable cause of increased tumor markers, and if you are treating that, there is a possibility of complete cure even in advanced cases. So we are doing a desperation chemotherapy, and after that we are following it.
Dr. Ginil, is there any particular histology that usually show non-response?
Unmute.
We can't hear you.
Unmute.
We can't hear you.
No, not well.
Dr. Ginil, we can't hear you.
Sir, voice is not coming, sir.
Ginil, unmute.
Sorry. So I am not sure about this answer, because in non-seminomatous, the seminomatous usually responds well. Non-seminomatous, according to the prognostication, may be a better factor than the histopathology, I believe. But I'm not sure about the answer. Probably Suresh sir can contribute something on histopathology and response.
No, I don't know.
I'm not sure that any particular marker is there in the histopathology that can guide us in the response, other than the risk stratification.
I don't know. So what
Shall we wind up for the day? Shall we wind up?
Okay.
Any further, anything that needs, we saw some hands being raised. Any questions to be asked?
Regarding the chemo response, one of the active discussion is the liquid biopsy. So that is one of the factors that may decide about the response, assessing the response. That is, if tumor cells or DNA is seen in the blood, probably that will be one factor which will be coming in.
You can conclude, Master.
Yes. There is a question where there are multiple guidelines available. Which one to follow?
We usually follow EAU except in few aspects like indication for chest CT. But EAU is well updated and regularly updated than any other guideline. And NCCN is more like a general policy, but involving medical and radiation oncologists. But thing is, EAU is more specific and well updated. So EAU is the better guideline for discussion. But NCCN gives a basic level management of, in the community level. NCCN may be another thing we can just follow.
Another
both the things, but EAU will be a better updated one.
Okay.
Because it is always better to do the chest CT. We are compromising because of the cost factor.
Yes.
Otherwise, that almost everything is same.
How in your institution in Amrita, what is the actually the different roles being played by the various specialities? Like
insurance,
so all the testicular tumors are
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಸೆ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಣಿಪಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 90,000 ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಪರ್ ಹಂಗೆ ರೂಟೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ.
So all the testicular tumors are discussed in the tumor board, and decision about further treatment is taken in presence of a pathologist, radiation oncologist, and medical oncologist. And we discuss in the tumor board all the pathology, because pathologists will be coming with all the details, and medical oncologist.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದು 4 ಗಂಟೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು.
So the prognostication is also done simultaneously along with that.
Prognostication is actually a part of is more important when it is not responding to a routine treatment. So all the data is available there. So it is more important when we are having a not response, then we just get all these things put together. Otherwise, it doesn't make much difference except for risk stratification. So risk stratification happens in the first line itself. If there is a metastatic, we just risk stratify, proceed with the second line. Then according to tumor markers, so it is like a flow of events or management, like one step by step. On each juncture, they will be presented in the tumor board.
Suresh sir, any further comments?
Nothing.
Felix sir is still on.
Felix sir, I think Felix sir has left. Anyway, it was a nice discussion. We have finished it 2 hours, and lucky that Ginil has come to join us.
Yes.
I think for
Dr. Nasser sir, nice. Thank you for the nice case and leaving a lot of scope for discussion.
Okay. Next case from which place you decide and tell, and we will join. We have called Ginil and even include Appu sir also. He is also may be interested.
That's a good suggestion.
Yes.
Ginil and Appu sir also you can invite.
Yes, sir. Appu sir,
Okay.
Appu sir will be very happy.
Yes,
because
the youngest in our department.
Yes, sir.
Appu sir is happy because he is joining from home only. Only thing he can't travel. That's the problem.
He's at hospital now.
Yes. Yes.
Felix sir has left.
He had said that 9 is his cutoff. Maybe he has left.
Okay. Actually, we also feel that we should stop by 9.
Yes, sir. Actually, we were discussing some crucial issues. That is why I didn't intervene.
I can't join that. I lost my connectivity last 20 minutes or so. I was so not
Anyway,
able to.
Thank you for a wonderful case, and that all shows the amount of interest. I think today we had more logins than last week, so I think it's the word is spreading, and I think it has to be. We will all save our energies for next week. Okay, I'll get in touch with Suresh sir, and we will select a good case, and we will have a nice discussion next week.
Okay, I will do that. Okay, sir. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. providing
Vasu sir.